There will be times in each relationship where you begin to totally understand that you and your mate have grown into truly being a great team. It has transpired right before your eyes while in the middle of going through conflict and growing pains. There may be certain situations where you are on the same side, or when you realize that there are so many things that you have in common, or just knowing that your mate will have your back no matter what's coming your way. That is a comforting feeling. There are signs that let you know that you and your mate are walking in a powerful relationship connection, a connection that is vital for your relationship, and you better get it sooner rather than later. The Relationship Therapy Podcast will feature some of the signs of a powerful connection in your relationship.
You've tuned into the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr., a podcast designed for couples who are married, couples who are dating, and have marriage in their future. We will guide you to the principles that will make your relationship better. Stick around. You might just learn something that will help your relationship last longer, grow stronger, and become healthier. Now, here's your host, Tony Miller Sr.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Tony Miller Sr., and welcome to another episode of the Relationship Therapy Podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. I really appreciate this listening audience that tune in each week to hear what the Relationship Therapy Podcast has to say about relationships. And we are here this week to give you some more information on how to make your relationship stronger, make your relationship better, and make it even more healthier. Thank you for joining me this episode. In this episode, we're going to help us recognize the power in the relationship that we have with our mate. Too often we overlook what we currently have to look at what looks shinier from a distance. What old folks used to tell me was that all that glitter is not gold. So we have to work on our own relationships in order for them to look just as good as something else. In previous episodes in this season, I talked about the problems of having relationship comparison. So we always have to know that we have to work harder on our relationship before we can even look at what's over on the other side. So in this episode today, I want to point out where there is a strong connection between you and your mate. I'm talking about the signs of powerful connection in your relationship. Join me to find out about whether your relationship has a strong connection. Let's go. So as we begin to talk about the signs of a powerful connection in your relationship, I want to start right here. Here's the first sign. There is listening from both people. There is listening from both people within the relationship. I have tried to impress upon my listening audience the importance of being good listeners to your mate. Listening is a lost art for so many. Couples have gone through so much in their relationships because one mate has not been good at listening. It is a troubling habit that totally disrupts the continuity and rhythm of the relationship. Couples who are great at listening to each other usually are in a long-lasting connected relationship. In order to develop the closeness that is needed to have a powerful connection, there has to be listening involved. When I say listening, I mean being intentional about not just hearing each other, but actively listening to what each other is saying and what is being said. When couples get to that level of listening, It's almost like an alarm goes off in their heads that there is a deep connection. When your mate has something to say, it is necessary for you to put down what you're doing and give them your undivided attention. That helps the speaking mate know that the floor is open to them for whatever it is that they have to say. Often the communication lines are blocked because one or both of the parties are limited in their listening skills. When you're doing something else while your mate is speaking, it kind of interrupts the flow of your listening. One of the mates feels isolated when they don't feel heard or have enough attention and they're not being paid attention to. This is especially damaging when they want or need to be heard. Abandonment sets in on that mate who feels that their opinions or their voice, or even some cases just their problems, have been stifled and they cannot express what's on their heart. Try listening to your mate when they have something to say. Leaning into them while they're talking demonstrates to your partner that you're engaged and your attention is fully upon them and you're tuned in to what they are saying. That's what gives you that strong connection in your relationship. And here is the second sign. The second sign of a powerful connection in your relationship is when you both have an emotional connection in the relationship. A couple that is not ever able to express their feelings to one another has a weak emotional connection. Think about it. This is the person that you say you want to spend the rest of your life with. You understand that there is a bond for you two, but it seems like there is an absence of the closeness that you really need to be able to share and feel in your relationship. What constitutes an emotional connection in your relationship? An emotional connection in your relationship can be recognized by how you're able to share your feelings, how you're able to be vulnerable with each other. These emotional connections has you seeking to understand each other and meeting one another where they are. In other words, you can be yourself when you have an emotional connection. When there's an emotional connection, you want to make sure that you do everything in your power to care about your mate's needs, feelings, and their happiness, as well as caring about them caring about yours. This is what being in a relationship is all about. When you are emotionally connected, you will understand that your mate is extremely important and they are the main thing in your life. It is easier to develop your relationship rhythm when you both are emotionally connected. Just like the last point about listening, the listening will be included in a relationship that is emotionally connected. This allows each of you to be comfortable with one another. Let me say that again. That is so important. Having this emotional connection will allow each of you to be comfortable with one another. Even when there's something that goes wrong within the relationship, you're still able to work on it and move past the problem. Couples seem to have hindrances that often plague their relationships. And when these problems arise, couples who are connected learn to quickly adjust themselves in order to fix whatever is broken. This couple tries to work together in life. This connection gives them the opportunity to truly love one another. And here is the third sign that you have a powerful connection in your relationship. You will go the extra mile for one another. There is something about being in a powerful relationship connection. It gives you security as well as comprehending what relationships are all about. Too many times people dive into relationships without understanding the sacrifice and compromises it takes to be in a successful relationship. Let me say this: a strong, healthy relationship is more than just being about sex. I know I'm going to say it again because I'm sure it's sending shockwaves through the air as I say this statement. But a strong, healthy relationship is more than just about sex. I'm confident that you are wondering why I would say that. Well, here's why. All of what you're going through within that relationship, all that love that you have and that infatuation, that strong addiction to each other, all of that is good. But what happens when there is an accident or sickness that changes the scope of your relationship or your sexual relationship? If there is not any deeper connection other than the sex, for all practical purposes, then the relationship is over. When you see that the relationship is over, please don't get me wrong, sex is an important part of the marital relationship. It just shouldn't be the most important part. There should be some connection there that binds you two together. Here's why I say it. I've seen couples who have had long-lasting relationships where there is limited or no sexual relationship at all, and they still have the love. Too often, couples want to major on the sex and forget about building a foundation of love. Again, sex in a marital relationship is important. Still, those type couples who go through that, they're committed to each other. They still love each other, and they will go to the wall for one another. Even without something like that happening, you can get to the point to where you will go the extra mile for one another. It doesn't matter how inconvenient it may be. It doesn't matter how it may make you feel afterwards. But because of the love you have for your mate, you will go the extra mile. Matter of fact, that's what relationships are all about. Putting yourself out to make sure that your mate is okay. Connected relationships are in a special way about being who you are to one another. When you go the extra mile for each other, it displays a connection that could possibly last until you both shall part. Don't you want that kind of connection with your mate? Because if not, why are you even there? Because, my friends, sex will get old, or you will get old trying to have sex. It is powerful when that connection is there, and each person will learn to enjoy each other a whole lot better. Well, that's all we've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could pick up something that I've said that will only enhance your relationship with your mate. But just remember, as we close, it takes two to make a relationship work.
Thank you for listening to the Relationship Therapy Podcast with Tony Miller Sr. We hope you have enjoyed this episode. Tune in next time for more insight on how to make your relationship better. If you have any questions, please email us at tmrelationshiptherapy@gmail.com. therapypodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, remember, it takes two to make the relationship work.